Alright everybody, so I'm going to try to pour a little something here today. See if we can get her up here so you can see her. My lighting's pretty bad down here, but I do a lot of this in the basement where it's nice and cool, and so, but it's a little skull. So we'll have to start off with packing the first side. So I don't know if any of y'all caught it or not, but I started packing that on the wrong side, so I had to flip it over. Push it down and finish packing on this side. That's pretty good. So you want your detail on this to be the face, and the bottom's got a cut in it, but I mean that doesn't matter. The bottom's not going to matter. You can sand that off flat if you need to, but the face is your detail with the eyes and all that. So I'm going to take and push the back in. I'm going to take sand, push it back up good and tight. I'm going to set the other side on. Now in order to get the best detail, you need the finest sand. So this is a trick that I've learned. Instead of breaking it up with your fingers, which does not get it to be that great a detail. I mean, it does pretty good, but flour sifter breaks it up way better than anything. Takes a little bit longer, but boy does it break it down nice and fine. I don't know if y'all can see in there. So it's got to work through that screen down there, and really gives you some really great detail that way. And it's a lot easier than that big handheld thing. And you're trying to push it through with your fingers. So you get a nice coat of fine sand on it, and you don't have to worry about putting too much fine sand on there, because it's not going to hurt anything. You're going to pack it down anyway. So too much is okay, but not enough is not good. So then you're going to take it and you're going to press it down, get it packed down in there nice and snug, so it picks up that detail. That way it'll go in the teeth and the eyes. And you can see that skull sitting up there in the middle. And then once you've done that part, you can just pile the rest full and pack it down. So I'll be back. So again, better to have too much than not enough when you get to this packing part, because you can scrape the excess off, but if you don't get it packed down good, you're not going to get all your detail. It's not going to seal, you know, all kinds of issues. Just take that, scrape it right off of there. So, forgot to coat her some type of powder. So, this is probably not going to open up and look that good. But we'll see what we end up with. So the rest of the sand stuck together, but it didn't stick to the skull, so it might turn out okay. Let's see what happens when we pull her out. Hopefully I didn't put it too far down. This thing's slick. There we go. So that turned out pretty good. So we're going to have to put a sprue in and probably make a vent or two. So something that's really good for making vents and for pulling pieces out. You go to Walmart and get you a set of dental tools. Your vent doesn't have to be too awful big because it's not that intricate of a piece. You do definitely need something there. Gives it a little bit of room for the air to come out. I personally use straws most of the time to make my sprues. So you want to push that straight down to the table. Then pick it up so it doesn't knock a big chunk out the back. Put it the rest of the way through. Now the sprues, while that's there, you can cut your hole bigger for it to come in where you pour it. You don't have to worry about sand falling down in your hole. So then when you pull it the rest of the way through, it is ready to go. So I just take it, flip it back over, set her back down, and she should be ready to pour. So now I'll just clean up my mess while I am waiting for the metal to finish getting warm. And I'll be back with you. Alright, so about an hour and 15 minutes in, it's finally got the first part of this copper that I put in here nice and molten and hot. Seems to take it forever to do so. So I'll slowly add a little bit more and then give it a few minutes and keep going until I have the amount that I want. Alright, so I was going to show y'all using the torch to preheat the mold, but yeah, apparently my torch is broken. So I will have to do this a different way. So if you're going to be crazy like me and not use all the proper gear, at least put it on your non-dominant side, so when you're pouring, if something moves, you're going to be more liable to try to catch it with that, so you don't burn yourself. I've already grabbed one of those one time and it was not too pretty. So I set it up there for a while so it could preheat. Miss Bell reached out to me the other day. Miss Southern Belle wanted me to make her a couple channel rounds. And I told her I would. So there's one of them. Of course, you end up with a little bit you got to knock back down in there. Heat up a little metal and we'll go for number 2. Alright, so I think we're ready for round 2. I'll set that on top of the electric heater to preheat it. Hopefully it's enough. Can't quench this bad boy. Alright, Miss Southern Belle, there are your 2 smoke channel rounds that you requested. I still have to tumble them and all that good stuff, but I will probably have them done tonight. And I'll bring y'all back when I'm ready to pour this this mold I made. Alright, so you can see I've got the mold on the metal plate set up here on top of the heater. Just warming the sand up some. The metal doesn't like to stop as fast when you're trying to pour it that way, and it gets down in your details and grooves better if that sand's got a little warmth to it instead of it being cold. So I like to, when I'm pouring small things, I like to heat that sand up some. If I'm pouring something big and the details aren't as intricate as it is on some of your small things, then I don't worry about heating my sand. But I have found if you're pouring small stuff, heating it up is the way to go. It definitely helps the flow of the metal and helps you get more of those details. So once I get that heated up and I have enough metal ready, I'll be back with y'all. Alright, so I zoomed it in a little bit. I am hoping, oh yeah, that's hot, that it'll give y'all a little bit better of a view there. Being my torch is down, I had to heat this way. I think I have enough copper melted for this. We will find out here in just a minute when we pour it. So wish me luck, because here we go. Wow. Nothing like a little fire in your house, you know. Get this thing centered better. There we go. Alright, I'll be back with y'all in a few. Alright, so let's take this bad boy out and see what she looks like here. So they say sand tells a story. Yeah, it looks pretty good from this side. Oh yeah, that's not bad at all. You did pretty good. I'll show y'all when I get her cleaned up. Alright everybody, so this is what I forgot to do on the last pour, and well, it ended up turning out good, luckily. But you want to use some of this powder to help get stuff to turn loose. Keep your sand from sticking to each other and coming out in clumps like it did on the back side of the other one. So you want to make sure you get all of it covered and coated. Makeup brushes are great for this. You got to get all the little pieces out. That way you can get your words and your detail. You want to coat it, but you don't want to leave it stuck in there. I'm going to try to place this just like that. Press it down in the sand a little. Hopefully the words on the back will come out. They're not very deep, so we'll see. And normally I'll just coat again just to make sure. A little left, a little thick on the sand's not a big deal, but you gotta make sure you get that coin cleaned out good. You're gonna set your other side on there. Well, let's see here. I do need to make me a sprue first. I have to just barely touch the coin. So there's a bit of a sprue. It helps. You can find something to set underneath it, hold her up. There we go. And then we got to sand this side. So this is not as big of an item as the other one was, so I don't have to sand it as much. But I mean, you're not going to have overkill, it's okay. So, and again, you're going to press it down ever so gently, but you want to pack it a little bit. Get it in there so it's pressed down in that and the grooves a little. And then you're just going to finish packing it with the rest of the sand. Now, I break it up probably more than some people do, just because it's just me. I've poured a lot of things that I never sent out or showed anybody, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and the pours just didn't turn out like I wanted them to. So even though I bought a mold or whatever, I didn't bother sending it out because I didn't like how it turned out. You're just going to work all that down in there, get it nice and snug, get it packed in the corners good. If you don't have her packed in good, it'll fall out on you when you go to pick it up. So I consider that like my second layer. So my third layer I beat with a hammer. And I'm actually watching Yankee Stackings live right now while I'm doing this. I'm sure some of y'all are in this live too. Put her on there and push her down. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll make sure it's up high enough that you can get it packed down good and everything will stay. So before I do that, take and drop a little more copper over here so it can melt. So I picked this coin up when I was on vacation in Florida, and Pirate Stacker and Chief Stacker were both with me. This is picked up from the Pirate Museum. And Chief Stacker has one coin, which I bought one of those too, but that was the last two they had. And I picked up the other coin. They only had one left, and nobody makes them anymore. Personally, I think both of these coins are pretty cool, and I hate to hear that nobody makes them anymore. Pack this sand a little bit. Alright, let's separate her and see what she looks like. Nice and easy and straight up. So I don't have a bunch sticking here. Oh yeah, that side looks good. So I need to take and cut the sprue out a little bit more so it's open more. Bigger spot to pour in. I'm going to pack the sand around it so I don't end up with sand going down in the mold. It loosens it up when you cut it out. Trim this a little. Now, the last item was small, but it wasn't really tiny, so I wasn't worried too much about the sprues. I just put a little something in there just to give it a little bit of space. This, on the other hand, is really thin, and if it can't push the air out fast enough, it's going to stop the copper or silver or whatever it is that you're pouring into it. So have to create a couple vents so it can breathe and get that air out and not stop the flow of the metal. If you ever start doing this and you've never done it before, reach out to one of us who have been doing it a little while. We can probably save you a whole lot of trouble, because it gets quite frustrating if you do it a few times and it doesn't turn out right. Now I got to finish opening this up. Where the coin is. And then we'll put one on this side. You always want to go away from what you're making. So that should allow it to breathe plenty. So you knock all that excess off of there. And your sprues, and make sure they're open good. Alright, this side's ready, I do believe. Make sure it's packed good. Now I'm going to go to this side and check this one, make sure everything's good and open. So coin fell right out and the words are in there. Perfect. So all that's packed and ready. I do need to open this up just a little bit to make sure the metal can get in like it's supposed to. Alright. There you have it. Ready to go. Both sides. Flip her over and put her back together. Again, I'm going to heat it up some. So I'll be back with y'all once I get it heated up. And I've got to flip it up on its end and to pour it. So I'll catch y'all in a few. Alright y'all, so I'm going to try to pour this coin. Battery on my camera's about to quit on me. how this goes. And I will bring y'all back to see what it looks like in a little bit. So, even with all that prep work, she's still a little bit warm. And everything, still failed. But, I mean, it's nothing to do but try it again. Try something a little bit different. As you can see, maybe, it was coming out good. But, my sprue right there at the coin, where it gets real thin, that's the problem. Trying to keep that metal flowing instead of stopping, and the coin's super thin. So try her again later. Hope y'all enjoyed.